is about sharing best practice. It's about sharing pool practice. It's about sharing lessons learned. Yeah, and I don't know how we push that forward, because like I say, we get the CQC ratings, we get the what the average good is, etc. But we're doing a big project on falls and antipsychotic use and things like that. Trying to get that information from other providers is really difficult. And I don't know how we break that barrier down.
I think it's to do with the culture change, because for example, you mentioned the CQC. No one wants to share a negative story or a negative experience because that reflects badly on you, and then we can't sort of develop from that. So but it's hard to get over that with the CQC basically monitoring and watching providers to the point of the fact that if you slip up once, that's it. You're done. So it's about kind of having that shift in culture with the CQC to make sure that you kind of want to work with them collaboratively rather than just being watched and monitored in that sense.
I think it's interesting. Our CEO Andrew Knight, throughout the pandemic, wanted to share the mortality rates, and so many of the organisations just wouldn't do it. He was saying, look, it's a problem for all of us. People are dying, and it's not entirely our own fault.
Could be bad press, right?
Yeah, and so it was, please let's share this and see what we're learning. And I think that's where our dementia sort of group really came into its own, just being able to share that best practice. But as you say, that the Care Quality Commission, if they get a whiff of something, it feels as though prosecution's just down the line.
They come down here like a hawk.
Yes. So I think it's that element. We're an incredibly data-rich company. But pretty much if you breathe longer than 2.5 years, and we'll have recorded that. We're incredibly data rich, and I think it's that bit about really we just need to get together more often as providers, probably at our level, to have those conversations. Say, look, falls is a big problem for us. Antipsychotic prescribing. 3 years ago, our antipsychotic prescribing was around 23%. It's now around 14%. It's that piece. So what else are other people doing that actually have helped them to drive that down? Because it's going to improve. It's going to improve your business case. Yes. Because we know that the antipsychotics will reduce a person's longevity. So I think it's that bit about just getting together, having those conversations, and we all sort of run from one week to the next really busy, but sometimes we have to make that space to have those conversations. And I think the pandemic has made that easier, because we can get together on Teams, we can get together on Zoom. So it's changed things, it's changed that meeting element quite dramatically, but there is nothing like being face to face with somebody. Probably support. Yes, identifying, sort of where do they want to start? What is it that what is the question? So it's almost a research question. What is the question you want answered? And how are you going to then answer it? So what do you need to do this digital journey, and how are you going to then support your team to achieve that? And it's usually that pilot project, isn't it? Let's start, because that's what you did with PAINCHEK. You did a relatively small pilot project and demonstrated how successful it can be, and then it goes to that next rollout stage.
No, I would agree. I think also digital skills for your workforce, I think getting everyone up to the same basic digital level is very important, because then you can start to expand into different areas of technology. I think it's also important to see what drive the government is pushing in. This isn't to say you have to do what the government says, but that's where quite a lot of the funding is for these projects, especially via ICSs as well, in terms of digital care records, because they're a bit of foundation building. You can get your foundation in place and build up. This isn't to say you have to do whatever the NHS says you have to do, but it's working with the NHS, working with ICSs to help build a collaborative measure going forward. And it means the best way of getting funding for these projects.
Yeah, I mean, and quite a few of the CCGs now have their own innovation technology groups who are rolling stuff out regardless of organisations. So that's where we've got to with acoustic monitoring is because we were approached by CCG. They said, we want to put this in your home. So, okay, box for free.
It's important that they listen to providers as well. And I think that's one of the things which the CCGs and eventually ICSs need to understand, that they can't just say we want to do this, you have to do it. It's like, we think this could be a good idea, will you work with us? And I think it creates a much more positive environment in that sense.
Yeah.